Okay, got test 2017 number 6. A lot of information on this page. We got a chart, we got a graph, and we have this function right here. And it says g is differentiable, so we should know that that means g is continuous. Okay, and that's going to be from -5 to 0. Okay, and the table gives values of g and g prime of selected values. Let h be the function who's consisting of phi of the line segments as shown. So that's the picture to right. Find the slope of a line tangent. So all we need is the slope of the tangent of f. So we need to do the derivative of that problem. So we get f prime of x. Now that first thing is a chain rule. So we start with the derivative of cosine, which is negative sine, leave the angle the same, and then times the derivative of the angle, which is 2, and we're going to stick that in front with the coefficient. And then we're supposed to know that when we do the derivative of e, it is the exact same e. So it's e to the sine x, and then that's times the derivative of sine x, the exponent, which is cosine x. So now we need to find f prime, and we're going to stick pi's in for all this. So we're going to get -2 sine of 2 pi plus e to the sine of 2 pi. Well, that's just pi, not 2 pi. Sorry. There's a 2 here, but not there. And then that's going to be times the cosine of pi. So hopefully we know that sine of 2 pi is 0 from the unit circle. 2 pi is right here, where your y value is 0, so that whole part is 0. The e to the sine of pi, that sine of pi is over here, is where pi is, where sine is still 0, so that's e to the 0, which is 1. And then the cosine of pi is the x there, which is -1, so this whole thing is -1. So that would be f prime of pi is -1. That's the first problem. Part B says, let k be the function defined by that, find k prime. So we have to do the derivative of this thing. And that thing right there is going to be a chain rule as well. So k prime of x is going to equal, if we start on the outside, do h prime, keep the inside the same. And then times the derivative of the inside, which would be f prime of x. And then you do the derivative of x, which is 1, so we're good there. And then we're going to go back. I'm going to save myself some time this time. And now we want to find k when x is pi, so we stick pi in for these x's. So now I need to find these values. Well, we just found for problem number 1 that f prime of pi is -1, so we can stick -1 in for that. I need f of pi, so I'm going to come up here and stick in pi for these things. So we need the cosine of 2 pi plus e to the sine of 2 pi. Nope, not just 2 pi, I did it again. We're sticking pi in there, not 2 pi, so that's sine of pi, which this again, this part up here, is 0 for the same reason it was 0 before, so that's e to the 0, which is 1. The cosine of 2 pi is 1, so this is going to be 1 plus 1, which is 2. So we are going to stick 2 in here. And now I need to find h prime at 2. So h is this graph. So h prime is the slope of this graph at 2. 2 is right there, so I need to get the slope of this line segment right here, which is down 1 over 3. That's going to be -1/3. So that's going to be -1/3 times -1, which is going to end up giving us 1/3, and that would be the answer for part B, 1/3. Then we go on to part C. Part C says let M be the function of that thing. So this is going to be a product rule because we have a multiplication right there. So we have to do product rule, and then there's a chain rule in this part. So when I do M prime of X, I do the first term times derivative of the second term plus the second term times derivative of the first term, which will be G prime when the inside the same, and the derivative of -2x, which is -2. Okay, then again, I'm going to save time because this thing is saying we want to plug 2 in, so I got to plug 2's in for all these x's. So I'm looking for G of -4. And let's see, H prime of 2. Well, I just found that a second ago. Right there is still the 2, so that is still -1/3 plus H of 2. Now H of 2 is the actual value right there. So that H of 2 is going to be a little bit harder to find, it looks like to me. So we are actually going to have to find the equation of that little line segment right there. So it goes through the point 0, 0 is on it. So that's y minus 0 is going to equal the slope of -1/3 x minus 0. Well, we take and we plug in this 2 down here, that 2 right there, kind of just underlined. So we're going to plug in a 2 right here. So that is -2/3. So that H of 2, that should be a plus sign. That's this plus sign right there. That is -2/3. And then we got to do G prime of -2. Well, -2. I'm sorry, G prime of -4. We have to multiply those two things together. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We need this slope right here. So we go up 1 over 2. So that's a half. And then we still got that times -2. Now I could actually quit. No, I can't because I don't have G of -4 yet. So when I come up here for G of -4, I get out 5. So I'm going to come back up here and write it. Let's go to a different color if I have one. I'm going to go to black. So G of -4 is 5. So I've got 5 times -1/3 plus, let's see, I got those two 2's right there will reduce. So that's going to be +2/3. And you could quit right there if you wished. We're almost done, so let's see if we get this. That'd be -5/3 plus 2/3. Let's see. Looks like I skipped something somewhere. I'm looking for where I skipped. Let's see, G of -4 is 5. H prime of 2 is -1/3. Plus H of 2 was -2/3 times G prime of -4. I didn't do that one, did I? G prime of -4 is -1. So I should have had a -1 here instead of -0.5. Right down here at the bottom. It should have been a -1. So I actually made a mistake there. So this is going to end up being 2/3 times 2. This should have been -4/3 right there, which is -18/3. It's -6 in the answer. No, it's supposed to be -3. So I made a mistake in there somewhere, and I'm not sure where, but let's see. Got too much stuff on my paper. G prime of -4 is -1. That was -2/3. For some reason I got a -6 and I'm supposed to have -3. So I'm supposed to divide that by -2 somewhere. Okay, I'm going to do this part all over again. So here we go. So m prime of x is going to be h prime of f of x. Nope, wrong problem. Down here. So that is g prime. No, it's first. We got to do product rule, my bad. So it's first term, derivative of the second term, plus the second term, derivative of the first term, which is going to be g prime -2x times -2. And now we're going to plug in 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. So let's try this again. So g of -4. G of -4 is 5. And 8, and it's 5 times h prime of 2. H prime of 2 was -1/3 that we found right here again, plus h of 2. So I need a plus sign here. Okay, so h of 2, that's where I had to do, that was -2/3. I just did that a minute ago. And that's times g prime of -4. G prime of -4 is -1 times -2. Oh, there was the problem right here. This should have been -5/3. This would have been -4/3, which is -9/3, which is -3. That is what we were supposed to have. So that's why we get 15 minutes in case we mess something up. Last problem. Is there a number c in the closed interval from -5 to 3 such that g prime of c equals -4? Okay, well, that's where this comes in. So we need to say that g, we should say g differentiable tells us that g is continuous. Now we could say from -5 to 0 like I did earlier, but this problem is wanting from -5 to -3. So we're going to have to say that before we can give this justify your answer part right there. So this is telling me that it's a mean value theorem. If you don't remember mean value theorem that says there is somewhere where the derivative of some x value is going to equal, and I'm using f, but I probably should have used g because that's what this problem is talking about. There's somewhere where the derivative equals the slope. So I'm going to erase that formula. So I need to find from -5 to 3 if there's a slope of -4. This right here is telling me that I want a slope of -4. So I'm going to use -5 and these two. Now, if these two don't work, I need to check the first one and the middle one, and the last one. I need to find it somewhere. So I'm going to say, looking for where G prime of C, and I'm going to do this slope here. So I'm going to go 10 minus 2 over -5 minus -3, which is +3. And that's 8 over -2, which is -4. So since the actual slope is -4, that tells me this is true. So I'm going to get to say, by mean value theorem, there is a C such that G prime of C equals -4. And we are done.